Good morning and welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for making the time to be with us. The next conversation is most interesting, focusing on a powerful book that is entitled The Courage to Fly, authored by the first female captain of BWI. So many of us should know who that is, actually. We've spoken about that quite a number of times on this program and another program. But not only a former captain of BWI, she's also the first Trinidadian woman to hike the trail to Mount Everest's base camp and the first Feng Shui consultant here in Trinidad and Tobago. I am joined by my guest, and she's live with us. She's via Zoom. Hello, Miss Wendy Yawching. Welcome to the program.
Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Thank you very much for joining me. You have referred to this book, The Courage to Fly, as a powerful little book. Before I get into exactly why you saw it necessary to write a book, or if it was just something that is reflective of so many aspects of your life, this particular book that details or gives people some level of courage, how much of it actually is who Wendy Yawching is and who she grew up as and then grew up to be?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I would say that it is a story of courage. And I believe that courage is something that I've had with me all my life, but I think it's something we all have inside of us, and very often we're afraid to let it fly. So this book is something that I hope will allow people to believe that they can let their courage out.
But if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, based off of what I've read, you yourself as an individual faced difficulties growing up and faced pressures, whether it be from your own family and friends, that this is something that you're not going to achieve. You're not going to get this done. And you defied all of that to be the first female captain of BWI. So it goes back to the courage to fly. Is that reflective of sort of the nickname of Wendy Yawching?
The nickname of Wendy Yawching when she was young was Fatso. And so the message I had was always, remember, this was a long time ago. And in our culture at that time, there were things that girls did and boys did other things. And our families, our cultures, our school system was set up to support that. So I was bucking the system from the word go, but I never let go of my dream. So even though I actually followed the path that was written for me by the whole society of Trinidad at that time and my schooling, I never let go of that dream. I just didn't believe I could really achieve it until I went abroad to another country where, everyone was doing what they wanted to, and women were doing things that were unconventional by our standards in Trinidad at that time. And I looked around and I thought, hey, why can't I? And so I credit my going away to another culture at that time with giving me the realization that it was possible to make my dream come true. But even so, it was still never an easy path, because at that point I had no support in my world, in my personal world for that journey, and no money. And I know everybody would say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that because I have no money. Well, I had no money either. And guess what? Learning to fly is a very expensive hobby, I would say. And if you love something and believe in it enough, you'll find a way. And that's what I did. So instead of having courage, I would say I was pig-headed as all heck.
But do you think that such is still the same, where other cultures are more receptive to, allowing you to expand on your dreams as compared to the cultures and society here in TNT? Or has that changed?
I would say that has changed a huge amount, and I'm so grateful. I look around and, of course, I see women flying, a lot more females flying for the national airline and flying in general all over the world than ever was so when I was learning, when I was thinking about this career. And of course, in all the other professions, women are standing up and being counted and have been for many years. So it has taken a while, but we have really progressed, and I am happy and proud to see that. But at the time, I was, I guess, what they call a trailblazer. Certainly in the field of aviation, there were just so few women all over the world who had that particular drive and that particular amount of pig-headedness or courage to start to do it anyway. in spite of the messages they were getting.
You keep using this term pig-headedness. Why do you suppose that that is something that it seems to resonate very much with?
Yes, it does. There's a dream in your heart, and there's the passion in your heart, but very often between the one and the other, the passion and the dream, and you must have the passion, all right? The passion and the dream, there's this long journey, and for me it was a long journey with lots of obstacles and mountains and valleys in between. You have to have the willingness, the passion, the belief, the big-headedness to not see those ups and downs as obstacles, but as challenges or as part of the journey, and therefore keep addressing them as they come up and overcoming them and proceeding to the next and the next and the next. That nobody says that achieving your dream, whatever your dream is, it doesn't have to be flying. Nobody says that achieving your dream will be easy, but it is your dream, and it wouldn't be there in your heart unless there was a reason. That's my belief system. However, nobody said the journey would be easy. And the journey is part of what gives you the courage. The journey is what gives you the strength. The journey is what gives you the experience. The journey is part of your journey. So seeing the problems and running away is not an option. And that's where the pig-headedness comes in. It's the willingness to walk forward, even in spite of seeing the challenges that lie ahead, that other people might think, oh my God, no, it'll never happen. You believe and you keep going.
But Mr. Yawching, there may be some who would say, and I understand where you're coming from, but there will be those who said, no, you're referring to yourself as having to be stubborn and even arrogant. And is that sometimes qualities that one must adopt in order to find some level of success and satisfaction for themselves?
I would never say arrogant, but definitely stubbornness, the ability to, the feeling inside yourself that you can do this and that you want to do this with all your heart, those are not arrogant. Those are I call that core feelings and passion. And the courage, where courage is in being afraid of something and going forward anyway, because you know that it's not going to necessarily, some people have it easy to get their dreams, but it's not necessarily going to be an easy path for you, and you're going to go forward anyway. Courage is letting people's opinions not stop you from walking that next step. Courage is knowing that you're not really quite sure what's at the other side of that hill in front of you, but you know that that hill is between you and your dream, and you start walking up it anyway. And so, yes, it is courage more than anything else. But in that courage comes a measure of, I'm not going to give up, which is stubbornness or pig-headedness in my mind. And I don't see those as negative words.
And now, do you believe that being a trailblazer and even taking the journey that you did comes with a certain level of responsibility afterwards, where you yourself feel that given what I've been able to achieve and what I've been able to do, and even what I've had to go through to get to this point, I now have a duty and responsibility to try and shed some light on that path for others who may be in similar circumstances?
I do, without making it a big situation. After retiring from my aviation career, I have chosen a path of service, and I do that in many ways by helping people to change their lives. Feng Shui, which you mentioned, I'm a master Feng Shui consultant, is one of the ways in which I help people change their lives. But I teach, I do motivational speaking. I'm currently doing an environmental awareness program for the school kids of Tobago, the secondary school kids. And in all of those pastimes or vocations that I've taken up post-flying, the mission is always the same: to help people to change their lives, elevate their lives, and give them the ability to see something different from what they might have seen before they met me. So yes, all of those things involve inspiring people to see things in a different way and go for their dreams, yes.
Then at what age would you say it's most critical to start realizing such?
Any age. When I wrote my book and I presented it to the first few people, they thought, this is a great book for young women. And I thought, okay. And then I passed my book around to more people. And then, of course, it was launched and it sold. And the feedback I got went all the way up to the people in their 80s, men and women, about how that the courage to fly inspired them to have the courage to face whatever situation their life was in. So young people, definitely, yes, choosing your path. More mature people at critical life places or stages. You know, you're stuck because you're not sure what to study next, or you're not sure if to come or if to stay, or if to travel, or if to move, change jobs, or if to release that job. People who were getting ready to retire and didn't know what to do with their lives saw my life post-retirement and realized, hey, wow, you can have a rich and full and very fascinating and valuable life at any age. And then there was this 78-year-old man who contacted me from Europe, and he said, your book made me go back and start revisiting the things I didn't do when I was younger because I didn't have the courage. So I would say people need courage at any age, depending on their situation, or they need to believe in themselves and know that they can change their lives for the better from almost any place that it is, if they have that inner belief and the willingness to start walking.
Do you, given all your experiences and even in terms of authoring this book, do you find it difficult, or do you appreciate such challenge in inspiring people?
You have some wonderful questions. I don't find it difficult because that's how I live. I think my life inspires people. I have been told that all over the place. In fact, I never planned to write this book. I was persuaded to write this book, and then COVID sort of made me say, yes, I need to do something to inspire people because there's so much discouragement and despair all around. Let's see, Wendy, it's time to let it out of your heart and write it. But I think my life inspires people. The way I engage my life inspires people. And so, no, I don't find it difficult. But I specifically choose things to do with my time now that inspire people. And I love it. I love seeing the light bulb go on in somebody's heart or eyes and have them say, you really made me see things differently, and I'm going to try differently now. So I love it. No, it's not hard. It's something I love to do. It's my mission now.
In this book, and I've read some of the excerpts from the book, and it's, you know, from chapter 1, referencing you growing up as a little girl, telling you, listen, girls do not do that. You know, girls are not pilots. Even to chapter 11, questioning whether or not you're a male or female. You're wearing heels and lipstick, but, you know, no to being a female pilot. And you defied all of that. And this is where the title also comes in, which is most interesting. It doesn't say that courage is actually getting into the skies or getting into your dreams, but the journey you take along the way in order to get there.
You nailed it. Exactly.
And this is what I find most interesting about the book. You've taken this position where I'm focusing on everyone from all age groups, and no matter where you are, from post-retirement to pre-retirement to 18, 19, this book is for you.
Yes, it is. And in fact, there is a chapter in there called Changing the Tires. That's how I saw my retirement. So for many people, when they retire, it's a time to, you know, go into the garden and relax, or sit on a hammock, or just, you know, do things like traveling that you've wanted to do and you couldn't do because you were busy. And yes, I do all of those. I love my garden, and I love sitting in the hammock, and I love travel. But I saw retirement as a time to change my tires from big, tough airplane tires to the other tires that I didn't have the chance to do when I was younger or busy or chasing that career, to expanding my wings to places I never thought I could fly to. So I left aviation and went into feng shui of all things. Who would have ever dreamt that? I didn't. I'd never had any interest in feng shui until I started looking around and saying, the world is mine. I am healthy. I am interested. What would I like to spend my time doing? And I tried many things, and then I found feng shui. And then I said, and I love teaching. So I started teaching workshops. Oh, I love helping people. I love inspiring them. Motivational speaking. Schools, that young people are where it all begins. We need to start there. Student stuff. So I just considered this period of my life to be one where my tires are different from when I was flying airplanes. And they're all interesting. And I wake up in the morning with that spring in my step still. And I'm not going onto an airplane. I'm going to do something completely different. But it comes from my heart. I think that's the And that's the common thread in everything. It comes from my heart. And that's where it starts. There is a term in my book, further on in the book, I don't know if you ran into it yet, called Ikigai. It's a Japanese word for following your passion, for finding that thing that gives you the get up and go, that makes you feel that it's not work that you're doing. It's actually your mission. It's actually something that you must do to feel great about your life. And you don't have to have just one Ikigai, but you must have at least one. I've had many Ikigais in my life. I'm still living my Ikigai.
Well, we can certainly take a lot of inspiration from that, and I really am appreciative that we can have this interview, especially at this time, because it also gives people a little bit of inspiration as they wake up today and they face a new day. And as you said, face multiple challenges, but it's within your heart, and that spring in your step. That dose of positivity I could very much appreciate, Ms. Yawching. But as we come to the conclusion of our interview this morning, and thank you so much for your time, should people desire to get a copy of this book, and I thoroughly encourage them to do so, where can they get a copy of your book?
It is available on Amazon for the international clients or people who prefer to, for instance, have an ebook. It's available on Amazon. In Trinidad and Tobago, the major booksellers, including RIK and Nigel Kahn, paper-based, and then some place, Metropolitan Bookstore and Mole Marketplace, which is in the Digger Martin area. And in Tobago, it's available at several well-known places as well.
Well, thank you very much for your generosity in sharing your story, but also your enlightening, encouraging, and educational gifts that you've really shared with many people and with all of us. And thank you very much for this book.
My pleasure. I have one last word, if you don't mind.
Please.
To anyone who watches this interview and is wondering, the answer to your question is yes, you can.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Ms. Wendy Yawching. It's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break here on AM Prime, and when we return, the conversations continue.